On a completely different subject, I was thinking about this today. Elon, as we know, rarely goes outside of his own companies for tech.
Mhm.
He rarely goes outside of his own companies to buy ideas or talent. He rarely buys other companies in order to increase revenue, like very almost not at all. I can't remember the last time he bought any kind of a company to increase revenue. And that's pretty unique among companies the size of Tesla. They're usually out there scouting for all kinds of opportunities to buy talent, to buy ideas, to buy revenue. And he's mentioned, of course, that part of the reason for this is that when you go outside, you don't get the culture of Tesla. And that
Mhm.
usually the culture of Tesla is going to make it a better product if it's made on what do they call it? Green
Greenfield,
greenfield
Greenfield.
rather than brownfield. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he now is talking about a convergence of his companies. He's saying, I'm starting to see this convert. This is like today's news or yesterday's news. He's starting to see this convergence of the companies. Of course, you and I have talked about it. And everybody says, well, everything he's doing is designed for Mars. Now, he says it's partially to allow Tesla's shareholders to take place in the success of the other companies, which is nice of him. I appreciate that. And then possibly to increase cohesion among the teams, such as ideas, problem solving, etc., because we've got so many things that are in common, like the data centers or like the chips or whatnot. So, what are your thoughts on all of that?
I specifically think the convergence is around space AI data centers. That is where the convergence is going to happen. That will be the biggest opportunity in the world and humanity's future.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a
So
pretty big,
because
that should be my headline, I guess.
yeah. So basically, and then each of the companies is doing a major piece of it. In particular, SpaceX and Tesla.
Uh-huh.
SpaceX doing the launch and other parts of the space satellite vehicle, and Tesla doing the chips, which are 60-70% of what it needs to go into an AI data center in space. And that this will be um, the only way we put up the trillions, sorry, billions of chips per year. Because he
Mhm.
said um, AI data, the terafab, right? Terafab, he said 1 million chips per month on 10 lines, 1 million chips
Right.
per month on 10 lines. So 10 to 12 million chips per year, right? You, sorry, wafers per year,
Wafers, yeah.
right? Right. But then you have about 100 chips per wafer.
Okay.
There's a variability on that. Could be as low as 50 if you have really, really giant chips, which are the NVIDIA super chips, right? But if you had a close to a super chip, but made a bit smaller, which is the size of the AI5, AI8 chips, right? Then you'd have 100 chips, which would be a billion chips, right? A billion chips, that is a terawatt, right?
Okay.
So he said before, they tweeted out, hey, I need to figure out how to build a terawatt the fastest, right? So terawatt the fastest, that is space-based AI. So all those chips go up to space because there is no other way to make that much power, right? So the trillion chip, the terawatt, kind of like went by that. He went by that. He did mention that, hey, the US makes 500 gigawatts per year,
Mhm.
right? Which is half
Right.
of the power, right?
Right.
So in actual fact, like if you add up all the power stations, coal, nuclear, um, natural gas,
Right.
solar, wind, all that kind of stuff, the amount of um, gigawatt capacity for that is higher. It's like 1,500 gigawatts, but we only on average run these things about one third of the time because any um, gigawatt number that you quote for a solar farm it only can run during daylight, only during certain hours of daylight, not in the clouds. The gas turbines, the coal things, they're also below half the time running, right? You talked about that kind of thing too. So that means if I can put my chips in space in a particular orbit where they're always in sunlight, and there is this thing called the sun synchronous orbit where I could do that, then solar becomes better than nuclear because it's on all the time in space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we can't make, like, if we were to say, how long before we double the power of the United States? Assuming, okay, we get a bunch of fission stuff, but any magic energy technology you say, when do we double the power of the United States? As your guess, when can we do that?
5-7 years.
5-7 years, double the power of the United States. So we've had.
I'm looking at all those nukes and all that stuff, but no.
Okay. So just
not
people,
a chance. Huh?
not a chance. No. So just so you know, since 1980,
yes,
we've been stuck flat.
Yes.
At 4,000 terawatt hours per year.
Yes.
We have not increased power for 40 years.
But so that everybody understands that we've remained flat because we didn't need more power. It would have just been useless infrastructure. And we spent all of that time reducing our use, getting the bulbs and everything else that
more efficient, LED bulbs, still whatever. Right. But over those 40 years, we've completed like 3 nuclear reactors. Right. So the thing is, in theory, yes, I could say, let's start up a bunch of nuclear reactors, let's construction, let's build it. Right. But I have no supply chain.
Yeah.
Right. I have no supply chain to make a new nuclear reactor.
Right.
Where am I going to get the big, 600-ton steel containment dome? Where am I going to get these other major components that I no longer make? Right. So you have to restart, not just, I'm going to make this reactor, I'm going to make the supply chain that makes the thing that makes the thing, right? So in terms of like they just did a deal that the United States Trump administration said, okay, we're going to do a deal with Westinghouse, and then we're going to get 8 nuclear reactors, right? The funding, the deal, it will take, in the positive case, 8 years to build those nuclear power plants, right? Those are regular nuclear power plants, 8, right? So that's 8 gigawatts, right? Over a decade, right? So if I need 200 gigawatts per year from 2030 to 2040, so I need 2 terawatts, right? 8 gigawatts is less than anything, a drop in the bucket. Right. So then I can go on the list of like, of the 68 gigawatts that we want to add between now and 2030, that's natural gas. Right. So this is all the deals that we're talking about for data center and all that kind of stuff. 68 gigawatts. That demand alone has put the waiting time for natural gas turbines up to 7 years. Right. And then, GE and those companies are going to have to double up the production of natural gas turbines. Right. So you're that 68 gigawatt demand, which again is a tiny fraction of the 2,000 we might be talking about, right? Again, becomes a drop in the bucket. Maybe I get to 5%, which is 100 gigawatts. Maybe I get to 10%, which is 200 gigawatts, right? Which is almost a doubling. Like that 500 gigawatts constant is 200 gigawatts of constant natural gas, which is really about 400 gigawatts at half pace, right? So basically, I need to double my natural gas capability. So again, it took me decades to make the original thing, and then I can just slam through and make all that. And again, I've already got multi-year delays getting a turbine, and then I have to do mining to get it, and then I have to make grid. Grid is like these huge power lines, and then also transformers, substations, all that kind of stuff. We built the grid over 60 years. Right? From 1910 or something like that up to like 1970, right? And then we stopped building grid. We stopped making more power, right? So we only have the ability to add 1-2% grid, right? Again, no supply chain. All the companies that were making that in the 50s and 60s, they're all gone, right? So because I'm only fixing stuff. So I got to make new companies. I got to get new supply of copper, all that kind of stuff. So supply chain does not exist because, hey, I wanted to put the order at the company. Last time I put in an order was 50 years ago. Hey, where'd the company go? Where'd the company? They're gone. What happened?
all right.
Why didn't they stay in business?
Let's flip.
The future is here. The singularity is coming. Grab your copy today, available now on Amazon in Kindle, print, or Audible. Unlock the future one page at a time. What will you build tomorrow?